Confidence begins in the mind, and the mind is the powerhouse that dictates every action, decision, and reaction you will ever have. Most people walk through life reacting to circumstances rather than creating their own reality, and the reason is simple: they have never fully understood the incredible power of their own thoughts. Thoughts are not just fleeting mental images, they are the architects of your destiny. Every belief you hold about yourself, every idea you allow to occupy your mental space is like a seed. And like a seed planted in fertile soil, it will grow, shape your character, and ultimately determine the trajectory of your life. If you allow doubt, fear, and uncertainty to dominate your mind, you are planting weeds that will choke your potential. But if you consciously choose thoughts that empower, inspire, and elevate, you are cultivating a mental garden that blooms with confidence, resilience, and unstoppable energy. In the first few moments of focusing on your mind, you realize that everything external, everything that appears as a challenge, obstacle, or limitation is simply a reflection of your internal world. The way you think about yourself, the way you interpret events, the narrative you tell yourself about your abilities, all of it constructs the invisible framework within which you operate. And the most incredible part is that you can change this framework at any moment. You don't have to wait for experience, approval, or validation. You don't need anyone else to hand you confidence like a gift. It is always there, waiting for you to claim it by mastering your thoughts. The mind has a profound ability to shape perception. When you decide to believe in your own capability, the world begins to respond in kind. Opportunities that once seemed invisible become clear. Challenges that seemed insurmountable begin to appear as puzzles you can solve. That clarity, that shift in perspective is the first marker of dangerous confidence. And it all starts in a moment with the conscious choice to think differently. The mind is also a powerful filter. It will highlight whatever you feed it. If you constantly focus on your limitations, you will only see them. If you focus on your strengths, your potential, your past successes, you begin to see possibility in every situation. The key is awareness. You must become acutely aware of the thoughts you are allowing to dominate your mind, because they are quietly, subtly shaping your reality without you even realizing it. Most people underestimate the power of this internal dialogue, but every time you entertain a thought, every time you repeat a limiting belief to yourself, you are reinforcing a habit. The habits of thought form the habits of action, and the habits of action define your identity. The confident person you admire is not born that way. They have trained their mind to operate from a place of belief, certainty, and focus. They have learned to recognize the destructive patterns of doubt and replace them with empowering alternatives. And the beautiful truth is, you can do the same. You can choose in any moment to interrupt negative thinking, to replace a thought of fear with one of faith, to replace doubt with determination. This is how dangerous confidence is built. Not in grand gestures or sudden epiphanies, but in the consistent, deliberate training of your mind. Visualization, affirmations, and mental rehearsal are tools to help accelerate this process, but at the core, it is your awareness and deliberate choice that matter most. When you begin to see yourself as powerful, capable, and deserving, your mind starts to align with that reality. You no longer wait for external validation, because your self-worth comes from an unshakable internal understanding. You recognize that every challenge is an opportunity for growth, that every setback is a lesson, that every criticism can be turned into fuel for improvement. And as you practice this mental discipline, you begin to notice the subtle but profound changes in your behavior. You walk taller, speak with authority, engage with people without hesitation, and make decisions with clarity, because your confidence is no longer fragile or dependent on circumstances. It is rooted in the undeniable truth that your mind is a limitless resource, a powerhouse of creativity, resilience, and courage. You start to realize that nothing in your external world can shake you, because your internal world is unshakable. This mental mastery is what separates those who are timid and reactive from those who are dangerously confident, those who live a life dictated by chance from those who shape their reality intentionally and boldly. Every thought you choose to entertain is a brushstroke on the canvas of your life, and the more consciously you choose, the more vivid, powerful, and impactful your life becomes. Confidence is not an accident. It is a deliberate cultivation, a mental muscle that strengthens the more you exercise it, the more you feed it with empowering beliefs, and the more you refuse to give space to anything that undermines your self-perception. And once you begin this process, you start to feel an energy coursing through you, an unstoppable certainty that no external circumstance can diminish, because you have tapped into the true source of confidence, the limitless conscious power of your own mind. True confidence is not built on the applause of others or the approval of the world. It is rooted in an unshakable understanding of your own intrinsic value. Most people spend their lives seeking validation externally, looking to others to confirm their worth, yet the truth is that nothing outside of you can ever define who you truly are. Your value is inherent, permanent, and independent of circumstances, achievements, or recognition. When you recognize and embrace this truth, you begin to operate from a place of power and self-assurance that no one can take away. The first step in embracing your inner value is to see yourself clearly without the distortions created by fear, comparison, or societal expectations. You must acknowledge both your strengths and your weaknesses without judgment, because the entirety of who you are, the complete picture, is what makes you unique and capable. Confidence that stems from self-worth is not fragile because it is grounded in reality, not illusion. Every time you allow yourself to be defined by someone else's opinion, you give away a piece of your power. And every time you reclaim that authority by affirming your worth, you grow stronger, more certain, more unstoppable. The journey to dangerously confident energy begins with the understanding that your life is not a reflection of what others think of you. It is a reflection of how you see yourself. This means you no longer wait for a title, an award, a promotion, or recognition to feel capable. You start to acknowledge that everything you need to excel, to take risks, to rise above fear, is already inside you, lying dormant until you choose to awaken it. Embracing your value also requires shedding the limiting narratives that have been imposed upon you, often unconsciously, by family, society, or culture. These stories whisper lies about what you can or cannot achieve, about what you deserve, about your capacity to make an impact. When you identify these falsehoods and replace them with the undeniable truth of your own worth, you experience a liberation that is both exhilarating and transformative. You begin to act differently, speak differently, and carry yourself in a way that commands respect, not because you are seeking it, but because you are living authentically from your core. When you operate from the understanding of your inherent value, fear loses its grip. Doubt becomes a temporary visitor rather than a permanent resident in your mind. You start to see obstacles as temporary challenges rather than insurmountable barriers, because your belief in yourself exceeds any external circumstance. Every action you take, every decision you make, is now informed by the knowledge that you are equipped to handle whatever life presents, and that your value does not diminish in the face of difficulty. This realization creates a magnetic energy. People feel it, opportunities are drawn to it, and doors that were once closed begin to open because you are operating from a frequency of certainty and self-respect that cannot be ignored. Embracing your value also allows you to set boundaries, to refuse anything that diminishes your energy or distracts you from your purpose. Confidence is not arrogance. It is clarity about what you deserve and a refusal to settle for less. When you understand your worth, you no longer allow negativity, criticism, or rejection to derail you. Instead, you use them as feedback, as opportunities to grow, while maintaining the unshakable core belief that your intrinsic value remains intact. It is this internal knowing that enables you to move through life with audacious courage, to take bold risks, to step into leadership, influence, and creation without hesitation, because you are no longer tethered to the approval of others. Every moment becomes an opportunity to reinforce your self-worth through action, thought, and presence. You begin to invest in yourself with intention, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, because you recognize that your life is a direct reflection of the value you place upon yourself. And as you continue to honor and cultivate this understanding, you notice a profound shift in how you are perceived by the world. People respond to you differently, opportunities appear more readily, and challenges that once intimidated you now feel like stepping stones. The energy you radiate is no longer fragile or tentative. It is bold, magnetic, and yes, dangerously confident, because it is grounded in the immovable truth of your own worth. Recognizing your value also empowers you to take ownership of your dreams and ambitions without hesitation. When you understand that you are deserving of success, happiness, and fulfillment, you begin to pursue them relentlessly, without guilt, without apology, and without fear of judgment. You stop comparing yourself to others because you see clearly that your path is unique, your contribution is distinct, and your potential is limitless. The understanding of your own intrinsic value is the foundation upon which every other element of confidence is built, and it is the difference between timid self-doubt and a presence that commands attention, respect, and influence in every environment you enter. It is the internal compass that guides every action, decision, and interaction with clarity, purpose, and authority. Confidence is not simply an idea you hold in your mind. It is an energy that is built through action. Thinking about being confident, wishing for it, or waiting for the perfect moment will never create the powerful presence that changes how you move through life. True confidence is cultivated by deliberately stepping into action, by doing the things that scare you, challenge you, or push you beyond your comfort zone, and each small action compounds into unstoppable momentum. Many people misunderstand confidence, believing it is a personality trait you are either born with or without, but the reality is that it is a skill, a muscle that grows stronger with consistent exercise. Every time you take a deliberate step forward, every time you do something that aligns with your goals, even when fear is present, you are strengthening that muscle and sending a powerful message to your subconscious mind that you are capable, you are worthy, and you are unstoppable. Action transforms thought into reality. It is the bridge between knowing your value and living it out in the world. Thinking you are powerful is not enough if your life does not reflect it, and every courageous act, no matter how small, serves as evidence to your mind and body that confidence is not just a theory but a tangible, lived experience. Often, the first step is the hardest because it requires confronting the discomfort of uncertainty. But in that discomfort lies growth. The moment you push past hesitation and act in spite of fear, you are teaching yourself, and more importantly, your subconscious mind, that you are someone who takes charge of your life. This creates a momentum that compounds with every subsequent action. Action also provides clarity. Many people spend years analyzing, planning, or preparing, believing that knowledge alone will bring them confidence, but knowledge without execution is meaningless. Action reveals what works, what doesn't, and what you are truly capable of. It allows you to test yourself, to measure your abilities, and to refine your skills, all of which build a foundation of confidence that is grounded in real experience rather than wishful thinking. Dangerous confidence is not reckless. It is informed by experience gained through deliberate, consistent action. Each success, no matter how small, reinforces your belief in yourself. Each challenge you face and overcome serves as proof that you can navigate difficulty and emerge stronger. Action creates a feedback loop. The more you do, the more capable you feel. The more capable you feel, the more you are willing to do. This is the essence of confidence that cannot be shaken by circumstance, opinion, or criticism. It becomes part of your identity because you have proven to yourself repeatedly that you are someone who acts, achieves, and perseveres. Another critical element is the courage to act even when conditions are not perfect. Waiting for the perfect time, the perfect opportunity, or the perfect preparation is a trap that keeps people in a state of inaction. Confidence is born in imperfect conditions because life is inherently unpredictable, and those who act in spite of uncertainty develop a self-reliance and internal assurance that cannot be taken away. By training yourself to act deliberately and consistently, you begin to shift from being reactive to proactive. Instead of waiting for life to happen to you, you start to make life happen for you. You take ownership of your circumstances, and in doing so, your energy shifts. You become a person who creates momentum, attracts opportunities, and draws others into your orbit, not because you demand it, but because your actions exude competence, clarity, and conviction. Action also dissolves fear. Fear exists largely in anticipation and imagining outcomes that may never materialize. When you take action, you move from hypothetical scenarios into reality. The fear that seems so large in your mind diminishes when you confront it through deliberate movement. Each action is proof that you are capable, that the worst-case scenario is manageable, and that you can navigate whatever life presents. This is why dangerous confidence is contagious. It is visible in your posture, your energy, your decisiveness, and your willingness to engage fully with life. People are drawn to those who act boldly, not because they are reckless, but because they radiate competence and belief in themselves. The more consistently you take action, the more natural confidence becomes, until it is no longer something you must manufacture consciously, but a state you inhabit effortlessly. It becomes ingrained in your behavior, your speech, and your presence. You begin to respond to challenges automatically with assurance, to make decisions with clarity, and to pursue goals with relentless focus, all because you have trained yourself through repeated, deliberate action. This is how confidence transforms from an abstract idea into a lived reality. It is through action that you bridge the gap between potential and performance, between who you are and who you are capable of becoming, and through this process, you step fully into a presence that is undeniably, dangerously confident. The mind is an incredibly powerful instrument, capable of shaping reality in ways that most people fail to recognize, and visualization is one of the most potent tools you have to harness that power. When you vividly picture yourself succeeding, achieving your goals, and embodying the person you aspire to be, Your subconscious mind begins to accept that image as truth, and your actions, decisions, and energy align with that belief. Visualization is not a passive exercise or a daydream. It is a deliberate, disciplined act of creation. Every detail, you imagine the way you stand, the way you speak, the way people respond to you, the accomplishments you achieve serves as a blueprint for your subconscious mind to follow. The human mind does not distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is real. It responds to both with the same intensity. This is why elite performers, top executives, and successful individuals across every field dedicate time each day to envisioning their desired outcomes, rehearsing success mentally, and experiencing victory in advance. In the same way, you can use visualization to cultivate dangerous confidence, to create an unshakable sense of certainty and presence that manifests in the real world. The process begins by choosing exactly what you want to experience, what kind of energy you want to radiate, and how you want to carry yourself. It requires clarity, because a vague picture produces vague results. When you engage fully, imagining yourself as someone who commands attention, who speaks with authority, who steps into challenges without hesitation, your mind begins to internalize those qualities as a natural part of who you are. Every day you dedicate even a few minutes to this practice, you are programming your nervous system to respond as though this confident, capable version of yourself is already reality. Your posture, your tone of voice, your decisions, and your interactions begin to reflect the image you have created. One of the most remarkable aspects of visualization is that it bypasses fear and doubt. The mind has a tendency to focus on what could go wrong, to anticipate failure, and to exaggerate obstacles. But when you deliberately focus on positive, empowering scenarios, you flood your subconscious with evidence of capability and success. This mental rehearsal creates a neurological pathway, a familiar route your brain can travel when faced with real-life situations, allowing you to act with confidence instead of hesitation. Visualization also strengthens resilience because it enables you to anticipate challenges and imagine yourself overcoming them. You can mentally rehearse responses to difficult conversations, high-pressure situations, or opportunities that scare you, and in doing so, you reduce the power of uncertainty and anxiety. Your mind becomes familiar with the feeling of competence, clarity, and control. So when reality presents these moments, your response is automatic and confident rather than reactive and fearful. The more detailed and immersive your visualization, the more effective it becomes. Picture not only the outcome, but the process, the steps you take, the decisions you make, the people you interact with, and even the emotions you experience. Feel the pride, the satisfaction, and the unshakable certainty that comes from embodying this version of yourself. The brain records it as a lived experience, and over time, this mental conditioning begins to manifest physically in your posture, your energy, and your presence. Visualization also aligns your energy with your goals. When you see yourself as confident, capable, and unstoppable, your behavior begins to match that identity. You speak differently, move differently, make choices differently, and engage with people differently because your mind has already rehearsed the version of you that operates with complete assurance. This alignment between inner belief and outward expression is the essence of dangerous confidence. People are naturally drawn to those who exude certainty and capability, and visualization allows you to cultivate that magnetic energy before you ever face the circumstances that would normally test you. Another profound aspect of visualization is its ability to amplify focus and intention. When you mentally immerse yourself in your desired reality, you are not just imagining success, you are training your mind to prioritize actions that will lead to that success. Opportunities, insights, and solutions begin to present themselves more clearly because your mind is attuned to recognize them. You are no longer wandering aimlessly. You are moving with purpose and clarity because you have rehearsed the path mentally and aligned your energy with the outcome you desire. This practice is cumulative. Each time you engage in visualization, you deepen the neural pathways associated with confidence, competence, and presence. The qualities you imagine gradually become second nature, and your mind begins to operate from a place of certainty rather than doubt, from power rather than fear. Ultimately, visualization is a bridge between who you are now and the dangerously confident version of yourself you intend to become. It allows you to internalize success, embody courage, and rehearse mastery so that when the real moment arrives, you respond automatically with authority, clarity, and magnetic presence because your mind has already lived it repeatedly and your body has learned to act in alignment with that internal image. Fear is the single greatest enemy of confidence, and learning to confront it, understand it, and transform it is the key to becoming dangerously confident. Most people misunderstand fear, believing that it is something to avoid or suppress, when in reality it is a signal, a messenger that points directly to areas where growth, power, and opportunity exist. Fear is not a weakness. It is a natural part of being human. And the moment you recognize it as such, you shift from being controlled by fear to using it as fuel for action. The first step in breaking the fear habit is awareness, acknowledging the fear without judgment, naming it, and understanding why it arises in specific situations. Fear is often rooted in the mind's perception of risk, failure, or rejection. And while these possibilities exist, they are rarely as catastrophic as your mind imagines. By dissecting fear, analyzing it, and observing it objectively, you strip it of the exaggerated power it holds over your thoughts and actions. Once you see fear for what it truly is, you can take deliberate steps to neutralize it. This begins with small, intentional actions that push you slightly beyond your comfort zone. Each time you confront fear, no matter how minor the situation may seem, you send a signal to your subconscious mind that you are capable of navigating uncertainty, that you can face what intimidates you, and that fear does not define your reality. Repetition is critical. The more consistently you face and act in spite of fear, the more it diminishes in intensity. Over time, situations that once caused paralysis or hesitation become manageable, and your confidence grows exponentially. Dangerous confidence is not the absence of fear, it is the mastery of it, the ability to feel fear and move forward anyway. It is understanding that fear is a natural companion on the journey to growth and success, and using it to energize your focus, sharpen your determination, and ignite your action. Another important aspect of breaking the fear habit is reframing your relationship with failure. Fear often arises from the anticipation of failure, the worry that a misstep will define you. But in truth, failure is simply feedback, information that guides you toward improvement. Every person who achieves greatness has failed countless times, and each failure was a necessary step toward mastery. When you view failure as a teacher rather than a threat, the power of fear diminishes because its purpose to protect you from harm loses relevance. You begin to see challenges as opportunities to learn, grow, and strengthen your capability. The courage to act in spite of fear also requires commitment to preparation. Confidence is amplified when you equip yourself with knowledge, skills, and strategies to handle situations effectively. Preparation does not eliminate fear entirely, but it gives you a foundation from which to act decisively. You combine courage with competence, creating an energy that is both magnetic and unshakable. Visualization, mental rehearsal, and positive affirmation further strengthen this process. By imagining yourself successfully confronting the situations that trigger fear, you create a mental blueprint that your mind can follow in reality. Each rehearsal weakens fear's grip and reinforces the inner belief that you are capable of navigating uncertainty with grace and authority. Awareness of your physical responses to fear is equally important. Fear often manifests in tension, shallow breathing, or hesitation. Learning to control your body, to breathe deeply, to stand tall, and to project calm energy communicates to both yourself and others that you are in command of the situation. The mind and body are interconnected, and by controlling your physical state, you influence your emotional and mental state, creating a feedback loop that enhances confidence. Fear also diminishes when you shift your focus from self-doubt to purpose. When your attention is on a goal, a mission, or a higher reason for acting, fear loses its prominence because your energy is directed toward creation and contribution rather than self-preservation. Purpose-driven action transforms anxiety into determination, hesitation into momentum, and uncertainty into calculated risk. Breaking the fear habit is not a one-time event. It is a continuous practice, a daily commitment to stepping into discomfort, embracing uncertainty, and proving to yourself repeatedly that you are capable, resilient, and powerful. Each confrontation with fear strengthens neural pathways associated with courage, decisiveness, and mastery, gradually rewiring your mind to respond with confidence rather than apprehension. The accumulation of these small victories over fear produces an internal energy that is unmistakable, a presence that commands respect, attention, and influence because it radiates certainty, composure, and audacity. Fear becomes not a limitation, but a companion that reminds you of your growth edges, a catalyst that propels you forward, and a mirror reflecting the areas where your courage is expanding. By embracing this approach, you transform fear from a source of hesitation into a resource of empowerment, creating a state of dangerous confidence that is visible in your actions, felt in your energy, and impossible for others to ignore. Confidence is not solely a mental state, it is a physical presence, a language that communicates power before you even speak. The body speaks a truth that the mind often tries to hide, and how you carry yourself, your posture, your gestures, your breathing, and your movement projects a message to the world about your inner state. A person can think they are confident, repeat affirmations, and visualize success endlessly, but if their body tells a story of doubt, hesitation, or insecurity, the world will perceive that story first. This is why mastering the physical expression of confidence is essential for anyone seeking to cultivate a dangerous, magnetic presence. The first element is posture. Standing tall, with shoulders back, chest open, and head held high, communicates readiness, self-assurance, and authority. The spine is not just a structural support, it is a conduit for energy. When you align your body properly, you allow energy to flow freely, both physically and mentally, creating a sense of alertness and empowerment. A collapsed posture, slouched shoulders, or lowered head signals to both yourself and others that you lack certainty or presence. When you make the deliberate choice to adopt a strong, grounded posture, you immediately influence your nervous system, releasing tension and activating a sense of control and capability. Breathing is another crucial component of physical confidence. Shallow, rapid breathing is a common response to fear and uncertainty, and it reinforces anxiety and hesitation. Controlled, deep, rhythmic breathing sends a message to your body and mind that you are calm, centered, and capable of handling any situation. It oxygenates your brain, sharpens focus, and creates a physiological state that supports decisiveness and composure. Learning to breathe with intention, particularly in moments of stress or challenge, allows you to regulate your internal state and project calm authority externally. Eye contact is a subtle but powerful tool. When you engage others with steady, confident eye contact, you communicate attention, presence, and sincerity. Avoiding eye contact, on the other hand, signals uncertainty, discomfort, or a lack of self-belief. By consciously maintaining appropriate eye contact, you create connection, assert authority, and reinforce the internal message that you are someone who commands space and respect. Movement and gestures further reinforce the energy of confidence. Deliberate, purposeful actions convey control and self-assuredness, whereas fidgeting, rapid movements, or hesitant gestures broadcast insecurity. Every movement you make is a signal, consciously or unconsciously, to those around you. By practicing intentional, grounded motion, you reinforce both your internal state and the perception of others, creating a harmonious alignment between mind, body, and energy. Voice is another extension of physical presence. The tone, pace, volume, and clarity of your speech communicate confidence in ways words alone cannot. A steady, controlled, and resonant voice conveys authority, while a soft, hesitant, or rushed voice undermines credibility. The body and voice are inseparable in projecting a magnetic energy, and mastering both amplifies the impact of your confidence exponentially. Even subtle micro-expressions, the small, involuntary movements of the face, reflect your internal state. Learning to control these expressions, or at least to be aware of them, ensures that the image you project aligns with the confidence you feel internally. Dangerous confidence is not about pretending to be someone you are not. It is about aligning your body with the power, certainty, and capability you already possess. The more consistently you practice these physical expressions, the more natural and automatic they become, and the more they reinforce your internal state. This alignment between internal belief and external expression creates an undeniable presence. People respond to it instinctively, often before they are consciously aware of why. Your body communicates a story of power, competence, and authority that precedes your words, actions, or accomplishments, making your confidence both seen and felt in a tangible, magnetic way. Physical presence also impacts mental state. The body and mind exist in a feedback loop. When you carry yourself with confidence, your mind internalizes it, and when your mind is confident, your body reflects it. This synergy amplifies energy, focus, and performance. Every time you consciously adopt confident physical habits, posture, breathing, gestures, eye contact, and voice, you are training your entire system to operate from a place of certainty, courage, and power. This is the essence of dangerous confidence. It is not limited to thought or feeling. It is embodied. It radiates in every action, every interaction, every decision. It becomes inseparable from your identity because your body, mind, and energy are fully aligned, creating a presence that is compelling, magnetic, and impossible to ignore.